All right, my thoughts on adoption. Yes, I'm meant to continue the next part of South Africa and race, but I had done this video last week and I can't find it anywhere. So I'm gonna have to start all over again and I'm going to change things up a bit. Adoption is bad depending on who you are. Adoption is more tolerated if you're infertile. I'm talking about now our black community. The adoptees are who I feel sorry for, because I think I did once mention in a different group, in a different video, where you go into the legal information or legal advice page, and more than one adoptee a year will talk about how their adoptive parents died and their relatives came and they took the house away and said, no, you're not part of this family. Same thing happened with a friend of mine. She was hosting a 21-year-old adoptee whose parents had died. Thankfully, they had made it very clear in their will that she is their daughter. So, it was just a temporary agreement or arrangement while the family sorted out their stupid fight. And that is the essence of the problem. Too many black people don't view adoption as forming a family for a child or with a child. It's just seen as taking on a responsibility. That's how it's viewed. Yet if you give birth to it, suddenly then it's not taking on a responsibility, then it's your child. It doesn't work that way. Love has no, there's no limit to love. How you come into the family shouldn't matter. When you are there, you should be part of the family. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Throw in the special needs issue, and then you've got a whole different ball game. It's worse. With my son, my mother kept saying, send him back, get another one, get a normal child. Children are not pets, not even pets. I know pets wouldn't, people who have pets wouldn't do that, but the children are not appliances. If they're defective, we don't send them back. What about all the biological children who are born unwell, like me? How come no one ever told my parents, oh, you should take her back to the hospital? When we adopt, we are becoming parents, not caretakers, not possessors or owners. We are becoming parents. And so our children are our children. I just needed to get that off my chest before I delve into birth parents, because that's another issue where negativity is strong, stronger than understanding, and I will never understand that. It's almost like they've sinned and it's a disgusting sin and we can't get over their sin. And these are the same people who look down on others who themselves have sinned. Hello? There's no worse or better sin than any other. We all need God. We all need forgiveness. So here we find that birth parents are vilified, hated, and that's one of the things that I think worked well for Anonymous, because unlike some American birth parents who used to blog, maybe they still do, our birth parents are quiet, they're hidden. When things went wrong, I asked my child's birth mom if she'd be willing to do an expose, but she was too scared to. She didn't want anyone to know that she'd placed the child for adoption. And that is the same thing that happened with another mom. Well, it's not the same thing, but it's the same idea where she's vilified, held in contempt. She was a widow. Her husband died while she was pregnant with their fourth child. She could not cope. So she placed that little child for adoption. Now let's understand this. It's one thing to leave your baby out in the field or in the bush. One of my acquaintances adopted a child who was found wandering around. They think he was 18 months old. They don't even know his age. wandering around a bush in the Eastern Cape, which is a rural black area. Scratches, insect bites, no one knows how long he'd been wandering around. That is a child who was abandoned unsafely. Even that child wasn't thrown away. We do hear of homeless people who find babies in the bin. That is a child who was thrown away. That is the only child who was thrown away, if it's literally so. Birth parents don't throw their children away. They give them to someone else to parent. And this is so irritating because my birth parents, my child's birth parents, they aren't together anymore. But when they were together, he was the one who supported her and held her hand when she was not sure, okay, should I, shouldn't I, during the 60 days in which they're allowed to change their minds. And he's the one who told her and kept reminding her, we want the best for our daughter. We want what we cannot give her. We don't have jobs, either of us. So it's a no-brainer. And we don't have family that will take care of her. Family's already taking care of your other child. He didn't have any children. So they placed their child with me, us, okay? They didn't throw the child away. But this very same man, when they would have arguments, he would be throwing it in her face. You threw my child away. I'm going to tell people that you threw my child away. And that is a fate worse than death. To be known as a birth mother is something you don't want in South Africa. It's sad. A birth mom wrote in a group about how she was in a taxi and one of her friends phoned. And the friend was asking, what did she do with the baby? Is she with the baby? And she told her, she was on the phone, and she told her, no, I placed the child for adoption. The social workers are so-and-so, and they've been sending me video of the baby, and it's really lovely to see him grow. He's safe, etc. She ends the phone call, and someone else in the taxi, some eavesdropper, lit into her, started harassing her, haranguing her, reprimanding her, scolding her for throwing away her child, for being irresponsible. She didn't even have blankets. She herself did not have blankets. How will she take care of a child if she can't even keep herself warm? They're not throwing their children away. They're not giving them away like it's, come who wants an old pair of shoes. They are doing the best they can for their children with the circumstances in which they found themselves. They're not throwing them away. Secondly, hearts. So that was number one. Birth parents are not throwing their children away. They're placing them for adoption and hoping against hope that their children will be loved and cared for. Let me go back to that. I was friends with a foster mother who worked with Anonymous, and when I was telling her that I'd found my child's birth parents and our social workers had not been passing our messages on to her, she said she's seen that. There was a homeless mother who gave birth. She placed the child. They promised it would be a semi-open adoption. So she would be getting letters, emails, pictures. She got nothing. Nothing. She just knew, so they claimed, that her child is in America. That's all she knew. So now she falls pregnant again. Very common, unfortunately. And she decides she's going to place her child for adoption. So this foster mother had been caring for this baby. And remember, for the 60 days, the child is in foster care. They have 60 days in which to decide if they really want to place their child or not. Within those 60 days, that desperate, homeless woman said, no, I want my baby back. I want my baby back because I've already lost one child. I don't know if she's even alive. I don't know if they're abusing her and that's why they're not sending me photos and pictures and letters. I don't know. I would rather starve with my child, knowing they're okay, than to have a child lost to me. So one, they are mistreated, looked down on. Someone from our own church said, why would I want to meet the mother of a woman who gave her child away? Why would God want to meet you? Why should I want to meet you? Why should you want to meet me? We're all imperfect. Okay, so people are all imperfect. No one's better than anybody. Birth mothers deserve some kind of kindness. They deserve kindness. Though I will say, we need also birth control. We need no sex. We need safe sex. We need men who will also step up and not leave the consequences of their actions on the women alone, because that's the other part of the problem. If you keep having children, then more children will keep being abandoned. That's just how it goes. We were told that our son, has an older sibling who's been cared for by his biological father, who's not our child's biological father. But when I contacted someone who I thought was the aunt of our child, biological aunt, she thought I was the man, and she asked him, why he'd left all the children with them to take care of. Who did he think was feeding all the children? She wouldn't believe me when I told her I'm not him. She wouldn't give me any answers. And now I don't know how many children this woman has who are being cared for by other people who she can't raise herself. Yes, there is date rape. Yes, there is widowhood, like my friend's case. But there is also poor planning and, I don't know, a sense of invincibility, that it won't happen to me, so let me just go ahead. Our bodies are so sacred and precious. When we give them away, we give away a piece of ourselves. And if you fall pregnant, that man tells you to abort and you don't want to, you give away a piece of yourself, more than you'd ever imagined. So I really ask our young ladies, stop sleeping around, please. Okay. The second point I wanted to make was, we vilify them, but they're not callous, they're not hard-hearted. Not all are hard-hearted. So we look down on them, they've thrown away their children, but they haven't, not in their hearts. Let me tell you the case of my own daughter's birth mother. She had been told by her social worker that when the child turns 2, she will meet her. So she phoned my social worker to find out how this would happen. My social worker pretended. You'll find out why I believe she knows and she knew that this is what they do to these women. Tell them they're going to meet the children so that it doesn't feel too long to wait for 18 years. But yeah, she phoned to say, okay, how will this happen? And my social worker told her, you're crazy. There was never any such thing mentioned, and you need to let go. Let go. Her heart, the child is, our child is part of her. She can't let go of that. Plus, I'm very sure she had been told that. My child's birth mother is many things, and one of them is not stupid. She's very streetwise and very smart. In certain respects, yes, having 3 children and all that isn't clever. But yeah, she had been told she'll meet our child at age 2. So I decided I will make this happen by hook or by crook. Except on the day when she'd given birth, she hadn't yet decided to place the child. It was only when she was in hospital. So when she got to hospital, she filled in her own information on the hospital clinic card. But then when the child was now given to the social workers, they plastered a white label over it, but you could still see through it, through the label. So we got the township and a house number and a street. Friends of ours tried to go look, but they never found her. We went to go look the day our child turned 2. We went to go look, and street name didn't exist, the house number didn't make sense. We wandered around that place for an hour until we said, okay, this will be the last road we go into. It's been an hour. We've driven from far. This poor little 2-year-old will get tired. And so we turned around down one corner. So we drove, we turned, and then we made a U-turn. And as we came back, I looked. Now, you see, I had texted her to say, hey, I want to send a gift. Can you please tell me what your address is? I didn't want her to know we're coming. But she hadn't seen the message. It wasn't read. And I was thinking of all the times to not be with your phone. Why now? So we were wandering around, just wandering around. And then as we turn, we pass a house on this side. And I look at the woman who's hanging washing. She's a smaller version of our child's birth mother, but she kind of looked like her. Her hair was also different, so the style was different, so I wasn't sure. But as we drove, I thought, no, I think that's her. So I told my husband, go back. I think I've just seen her outside. What are the chances that you're searching for someone in hundreds and thousands of homes, amongst hundreds and thousands of homes? And as you drive past, they're hanging, washing, just when you need them. So we went back. She was like, she had seen the car and she thought, is that Thandi? It can't be, maybe I'm going mad. But when she saw us, first, that vilification thing that I was talking about, the shaming, she was terrified that the neighbors would see our child's face and immediately know that it was the birth father's child, because she said that they look alike so much. So we had to rush in hiding this poor child's face, and we went into the home, and I said, I want to look around. I want to be able to tell our girl what her home would have been like if she had lived here, just to help her understand and picture the conditions you're living in. Because one of the reasons she placed her child was because the conditions were not conducive to proper growth, etc. And so we walked past, the toilet was right in the kitchen. That is the government housing that they were doing. The toilet is right into the kitchen. So you open the door and you open it onto the stove. And I went to the bedroom. And on the wall was a gift I'd given her the day we placed our child. It was a letter. It was a promise, a vow. It was on the wall facing her bed so that when she's lying down, she can read it. And in it, I can't remember now, it was 9 years ago, I had vowed that we will love our child, that I will take care of her, that she will ever be family, not just an addition, but that she'd be loved, she'd be family, and that I would ensure that she reaches her potential, whatever her potential would be. And I would make sure that the dreams she had for her child, that we would be able to carry them out for her. And she had kept that for 2 years. She had that on her wall. Don't tell me these women are heartless, don't care, blah, blah. They're not. And I would not hesitate to say, even the ones who really don't send updates and don't want pictures, I think some of them really do love their children, but they think it's easier to separate completely and try and forget that chapter. So one, South Africa, and probably other countries too, they are vilified a lot, looked down on. Number two, birth mothers, many of them do have a heart. They love their children, and it hurts them when they can't be with them. And then my last point that I wanted to make was the other side. I wanted to talk to any birth mother who might ever come across this one day. If you're like this, please change, please change. I have a friend, well, she was a young lady. She said I was like a mother to her. She had a birth mother, then she had her adoptive mother. Her adoptive mother had tried natural remedies first to cure stage 1 cancer. Sorry guys, I'm really struggling. the side effects of my injection, which I did yesterday, it's extreme fatigue. My eyes actually, I'm looking at the screen, but my eyes are swimming. But I don't want to wait. I have other things I want to talk about, so here I am anyway. So there we were. She's a friend of mine, though she referred to me as her mother. She said that she wished she had never been born. Her mother was sick and dying of terminal cancer now because the natural remedies didn't work and it was now too late to use conventional medicine. And then her birth mother abandoned her. She'd never seen her, no photo, nothing. When she became an adult, I'm so sorry, she asked the social worker, please can you find her? The woman refused. She was found, but she said, no, I don't want anything to do with M. I'll call her M. I'm not interested in talking to her. I don't want to meet her. And then M said, okay, can she please send me a photo of herself? I want to see who I look like. I want to see if I look like her. She refused a photograph. She had said, my young lady had said she wished she hadn't been born. Her biological mother did die. Her grandmother, sorry, let me go back again. Her biological mother died. Her adoptive mother died. Her grandmother died. She had no one. And when you add the grief onto knowing that you're not wanted, that someone can't even give you a photo of themselves, it's too much. On top of any other issues she had that she had kept from me, she committed suicide. And this is why I'm begging you, if you are that kind of birth mother who wants to pretend it didn't happen to the detriment of your child who is searching, please, please think again. Think twice. I've read books where the woman is now 40, she finds her birth mother, and the birth mother tells her, okay, it's a secret. It is wounding. It is painful to be a secret. It makes you feel like you're disgusting, like you shouldn't exist. So please, if you've got a biological child who's desperately looking for you, please make yourself found. I'm not saying it will be easy at all, but that child didn't choose her situation. My friend's mother, she conceived her in rape. She was a rape baby. So that is why she wasn't interested in her. I can't ever speak on that, but I will say this, we all know, the child is not your rapist. So please, please, please love the child. Place them above your own needs just for a bit, even if it's going to be just one day. Just give them something and explain to them why exactly you don't want to give them anything, or you don't want to talk to them. Please be kind. Adoption is already a loss. They lost your rhythms, your smell when they were born. Please don't make them lose you again. So yeah, that is my 3 points. Those are my 3 points on birth mothers. 1, they're not ogres, they're not monstrous, they're not any worse to with the rest of us and the mistakes and errors we make multiple times, which God has to forgive. 2, they do have a heart. They don't all just chuck the children away and then forget about it. Thirdly, if you are struggling to be kind to your biological child and they're looking for you, please try and look outside yourself. Imagine yourself in their hands, or in their situation rather. Please do what's right.